Hey, what up? What up? This is GoDilla, Whitey Black Brown. Check me out on DroTV. Big shout out. Blaze one up with your boy.
Welcome back to My First Time, the show where our guests get to tell their story of the first time they got high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, GoDilla. What's happening?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. You can find more of GoDilla on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll have
Yes,
all the
sir.
links down below. So, my man, tell everybody a little bit
Let's
about
get into it.
yourself, where you're located, and what you got going on right now.
Man, GoDilla. I'm living in Lancaster, Massachusetts, right outside of Worcester. Uh, New group. Well, not new group, man. We actually been working together for a while. Whitey Black Brown got an album coming out in May 20th, actually. So really looking forward to that. There was a lot of hard work put into it, man. It was really fun to make too.
No doubt. Yeah, I love the new single. The first single that came out too, The Reason. I've been bumping that jam since it came out. So I definitely want to get more into Whitey Black Brown, possibly
Definitely.
RevILLutionAries, even Mike Murderers. But uh, the show is my first time. So we want to know about the first time you got high.
Oh man. I would say compared to a lot of people I smoke with, I was a late bloomer. I didn't start smoking like full time until I was like 21, 22 years old.
Okay.
A lot of my friends started, teenagers, early high school. Um, but the first time I smoked though was when I was like 18, I believe. I was like 18 or 19 when I first got high. And those ones that I told you were smoking before me tried all the time, man. Come on, man. Just smoke. Just smoke. Just smoke. And I would never give in. I would never give in. I didn't drink. I didn't do nothing. I was very, very straight edge. And it just happened to be this one night during the summer. My friend's mom is at work. We're all hanging out, bugging out. People are drinking. And yeah, they're like, come on, man. Just and I finally gave in, man. And I know people say you don't really feel it your first time, but I did. Like I was geeked out, dude. I slanted, man. I'm telling you, if there was like Twitter or Facebook, dude, back then, good lord, man. Like my eyes were down. You know what I'm saying? And the whole time, I will say it was a very good experience because I could not
Okay.
stop laughing.
All right.
So um and it's funny because I didn't smoke for like another 3 years after that, but I enjoyed it very much afterwards.
Was it something that, even though it was enjoyable, it just wasn't easily attainable, or how come it was such a long break in between?
In this town, it was definitely attainable. Um, I I think for me, it was just coming from where I did or whatnot, and the perception that I had on marijuana at the time, and not having nearly as much information. When you find out about weed, you find out it's not nearly as bad as the stuff that they told us when we was growing up. This is your
Right.
brain on drugs, and you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying. So I even though my friends are doing it or whatnot, like I was kind of, brainwashed to that. Like I just didn't want to fall down that rabbit hole. I had seen a lot of friends or my mom's friends or whatever just kind of, really get hooked on drugs. You know what I'm saying? And they said that marijuana was the gateway. And I was like, I didn't want to be one of those people.
Sure.
And then, so there was like so for me it was just nothing that I was really ever aiming to just do on a regular basis because of how much I saw. But then I started wrestling professionally. And and when you wrestle professionally and you're, and on a nightly basis, you're slamming your body off of a wooden mat, you know what I mean? Then after a while, you want something that's going to relax you. And that's when I fell in love with it.
Okay. So let's
So,
talk about the wrestling for a little bit. I know you're a big dude. Um, how did
no,
you get into professional wrestling? Was it something you did in high school, college, or
man, I have been a fan of wrestling since my eyes get focused. Like I still am to this day. And I love music. I love music. I always will. But wrestling's my first love. It really is, man. I try to watch as much as possible. But we started off. There's some YouTube stuff I could probably hit you off with. Huge Afro GoD. Um, we started off. We used to just do backyard. We would wrestle in the backyard or whatnot. We started in a basement actually, and then we moved outside and did some stuff. And we had a federation called the EWF, the Empire Wrestling Federation.
Nice.
And through one of those guys, we had met actually Catalyst. That's how I ended up meeting him. Is through a friend of a friend. He hooked us up with what they were doing in New Bedford for wrestling. It's like, oh man, they got a ring, they training, they take you down there, see if you really want to do this. And then it just progressed from there, going to a school, finding an actual trainer, and we you know what I'm saying? So it went from the backyard to inside the ring to my journey from wrestling led me to weed. Seriously.
Okay, so wrestling's what got back what you got. Wrestling is what got you back into smoking weed.
Yeah, we would come from training, and like when we would come from training, we would go back to my crib. At the time, I think I was like 20, on the cusp of being 21.
Okay.
And all my friends would go into my room and smoke, and I would leave the room. I drank at the time. I was like real bitch drinks too, like Mike's Hard Lemonade and shit. Like I didn't drink I wasn't a real big beer fan at the time, but I would just sit out there and drink and talk to whoever we was partying, and they would all be in my room just smoking throughout the night. And much like before, that, come on, man, you got to smoke. And there was just one night where we had came through like a very intense training, and I got home and I was sore. I was agitated, you know what I mean? And they was like, come on, man, take peer pressure the shit out of me. But for me, I was like, hey, man, I'll do it. And the first time I tried it, it was just to try it. I had never tried it to relax my body or anything. And I was like, holy shit, this worked. Way more than alcohol, way more than stretching for me. It was just cool to be relaxed. And I'm saying like no giggles or nothing. I smoked. I was so relaxed, and I was like, man, this is making this a lot easier. And realistically, if marijuana wasn't so ostracized in the 90s, there's a lot of wrestlers out there that wouldn't have got hooked on like painkillers.
Sure.
So I'm glad that I found that route before I was like, let me keep popping pills to cure my back. So
I know from listening
love
to
it, man. Love it.
That's great. I know from listening to Rogan, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, marijuana's big. And I can only imagine, watching, I forget the documentary that had like Jake the Snake, where he was like the guy. Everybody went to Jake the Snake to get pills, drugs. And so I can see where, from a pain relief standpoint, marijuana was probably the gateway to those other things, because some of those guys, they went hard. They probably needed some
well, that's the thing, is that opioids wasn't outlawed.
Right.
Weed was. So at the time, it was just like, yeah, you can take as many pills as you want as long as you make the show. But if you got a little high, nowadays it's a lot more flipped or whatnot, and they take a lot better care of the athletes. Like I said, information is power, right? And a lot of people had a lot of wrong information on what marijuana could do and the effects of it. So, and it wasn't prescribed to me as nothing like that. And but just even now, man, like when I go to work out, like when I get home after I shower, the first thing I do is smoke. I mean, like you get a nice blend of something and you smoke, and you just love it. And before too, I can't even lie. I smoke before I work out too. It gets me in a better zone.
That doesn't quite work out well for me. I get too much in my head when I'm trying to work out and I'm stoned. I'm too much in my head. So So early 20s, you start to wrestling. When do you transition to MC and rap artist?
I was always writing.
Okay.
At this point, I'd always been writing and whatnot. I didn't have very good structure or anything at the time, but um, when we started in the ring, that's where I meet Catalyst. And where I met Catalyst, he introduced me to Rev. And once I met them, we got into a really good groove of just writing, man. And what sucked is that those guys don't smoke. To this day, they don't smoke or
Right.
whatnot. So I'd want to be in the studio and try to light something up or whatnot. I'd have to go downstairs or some shit. But after we would wrestle, I would hang out at Catalyst house and we would just bug out and listen to music. And he's always got like, if there's something that you haven't heard, he's probably got it. I mean, just like yo, like he's got just the best catalog in music. And we would just chill out or whatnot, have a few drinks, and just shoot the shit. And we would start talking about music. And Catalyst at the time wasn't really into necessarily writing, which is absurd because he's great at it. But once we all kind of got into like that zone where me, him, and Rev was in a room, it just kind of blossomed. And we just started writing and writing and writing. And we would spend entire summers just writing mixtapes and whatnot. There's way more unreleased stuff from the Mike Murderers that there is released, honestly, on any platform. And that working with them really boosted my love of writing in music or whatnot. Like I owe all of that to them because even with RevILLutionAries, man, like it wasn't like I wasn't writing. I was still doing the Whitey Black Brown stuff, just not nearly as serious, I would say. And like when Rev, was like, hey man, we're really gonna do this and yada yada yada, like that really boosted me up again. Like, man, like, all right, let's do this. And just putting more focus into the Whitey Black Brown project as well afterwards. Like as soon as we finished RevILLutionAries, I kind of sat down with Lou and Cut and was just like, man, I think we got some good shit here that we can really work with because they were actually against making an album. They just wanted to make music, which was fine. And I mean, we wasn't talking about putting out a project. It was like, hey, let's just make songs, get together, smoke some weed in the studio, which they smoke all the time. They're completely different than Chris, than Rev and Liz or
Sure.
whatnot. Like we get into the studio, the first thing we do is blaze. So, um, but we would do that, and we ended up coming up with a song called Lucy, which is on the album or whatnot, and that's about smoking. And to me, that was the first time where I was like, "Damn, man, we actually got some pretty good chemistry," opposed to just writing bars together. And then when we made The Reason, in my opinion, I love that song. That to me, and Lou Six and Cut Will Call Me Crazy. That's my favorite album on the favorite track on the album.
Okay.
And when we did that song, like the vibe of it, I was like, man, I think we could put together something really good here. Like with the stuff that we're doing, Cut was just in the zone making beats or whatnot. And my man, shout out to my man Riggle, him too, helping us out build this from the ground up, which I had never did before. It was always just, hey, yo, here's this producer sent this beat. I never got to sit down and watch people create the beat the entire time and point out which parts that I wanted to speed up or slow down or hey, do this to this. You know what I mean? It was just it was a very different experience, man, and it was rewarding when all the work was done. Like I loved it, man, and those guys pushed me to be a better MC. So I can't wait for people to hear this project. I really can't.
Excellent. So Whitey Black Brown, is it three guys? One's white,
A
one's
white
black,
guy, a
one's white.
black guy, and a brown guy. So, uh, the funny thing is, man, is that the name when we said it, I believe Lou Six came up with it. I believe when we said it, it was just a joke. Like it wasn't. We weren't putting out music. We would just say it because, truthfully, it was a white guy, black guy, and a brown guy. So we would just sit there and joke around about it. But Lou had wrote a verse and used the phrase W double B. And I thought that was I just thought that sounded cool as shit. And I was like, yeah, I think we have something that we could actually put out there and whatnot. And plus it's almost like a great, you know, the conversation starter. Like when you sit there and you
Sure.
just like, hey, what's your guys' name? Like WWB. What does that mean? Whitey Black Brown. Everybody gets taken back a second. You know what I mean? So um the thing is though, man, is the name is funny and I love it, but when you hear it, man, you'll see the work. It's far from a joke. The music is dope, man. It's real dope, and people are gonna. I got a great feeling how much people are gonna enjoy this.
Yeah, The Reason's a great track. We're going to link to that below. And Bluelight, you guys just came out with a video for this.
Yeah.
It's got the chill, laid back, marijuana vibes to it.
Yep.
Video by Mr. DL. Is this so? I know you said you've been recording and writing these songs for a while. Did this song happen after The Reason? How did this song come about in a video?
So after we did The Reason, I went full force with trying to tell these guys we need to make an entire album. Like I'm pretty sure we have a chemistry now where we can make something really good. And we're in the studio smoking, and and my man Wriggle and Cut start the beat to Bluelight. Now, truth be told, when they first started it, and this is what I say, like I had never been there for just the groundwork of making the music before. When it was starting, I actually wasn't a fan of it until it all came together. And when I heard it, I was like, man, this beat is incredible. This is dope. Like it's a dope vibe. And Lou Six is incredible at writing hooks and coming up with different rhythms or whatnot. And he came up with the shit don't bother me. Like when he came up with that, we just had that looped and we were trying to find what to put in between. And then one day went to Cut's house and him and I are smoking, and I was like, yo, I wrote something that we can fit in between that hook to make it pop. And if it doesn't work, then we can just loop that because it's catchy enough. And we put it down, man, and that track came to be. And I think that for me, it was The Reason. I think when we made Bluelight, that convinced them that we can make a really good album.
The shit don't bother me. Not in the least. You spilling tea, I'm not sipping, I'm sitting cool as a breeze, man. Shit don't bother me. I'm at peace, so peace to everybody that matter with petty peace, dog. Shit don't bother me. I just chill with the smoke, no smoke coming at me, cuz shit don't bother me. I do me, so do you.
So I'm glad it was a very easy decision. Like The Reason technically isn't the first single off of the album, even though we had already put it out, which I begged them not to. But even though we had already put it out, because at the time there wasn't a plan to make an album. It was just to keep making singles or whatnot. So like I don't call Bluelight is technically the first single from the album, even though The Reason is on it. So when I market it or whatnot and we send it out to people, I just say WBB's new track because it technically isn't the first single with The Reason being out there. But there will be a video for The Reason. The idea for that should be pretty dope, man.
Okay.
But that video is gonna be a vibe, man. That's gonna be dope. I can't wait to do that.
No doubt. Yeah, I'm excited to check it out when it does come to fruition. Any directors lined up, or still kind of storyboarding it, coming up with ideas?
I'm talking to a few people right now. The storyboard for The Reason is pretty much set. We got a really good idea for that, for what we want to do. I'm talking to a couple of different guys, about 3 different guys, about directing it or whatnot. And I guess it really depends on those guys' availability. But there are some pretty good guys lined up. I definitely want to work with DL again, man. Like that guy is just cool to be around with working with music. But and shout out to DL too. But yeah, there's a very nice plan laid out for what we're gonna do for the summer and everything, man. So I just can't wait, man. This is doing these interviews, part of the process. But I'm more than happy to be here, man. More than happy. Thank you once again.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy we can do this. Tell everybody again when the album's dropping.
May 20th. May 20th, a month after the first single was dropped, man. May 20th, Whitey Black Brown's self-titled album will be out. It's the whole album is when I'm talking about this, if you listen to RevILLutionAries, is completely different. The vibe on it is completely different. The sound on it is completely different. I don't think I've ever been a part of something where everything sounds so different but flow together so nice. If I can say about any regret that I would have, it would be that we didn't get to do a lot of the features that we wanted to. And that'll be saved for the next project that we do. We're already starting to work on that. But the album, it flows so easy, man. I'm telling you, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to hear it.
How many tracks?
I think all in all there are 13. I want 12, I believe.
Okay.
It's 12 or 13, but I know there's 10 songs, but like 3 of them are interludes.
Okay.
And not like skits or whatnot, just like beats that are playing or whatnot that we didn't use. And like I brought that up to Cut and Lou. I was like, man, I was listening to some like like Eric B, Rakim, a couple of things from the 90s, and it was just like they just had tracks where a beat was playing. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't long or whatnot, but like Eric B would have tracks where it was just him mixing on them.
Sure.
And they were just like when I was driving and when I was driving and listening to them, I was like, man, like it didn't really break up the album. You know what I mean? It was a real smooth transition to whatever the next track was. So I was like, yo, Cut, if you got some beats that you're not using, maybe we can, just kind of toss them in there. And then so we came up with some, and it flows in real nice, man. Especially like some of them kind of correlate with the song it's going into as well. So I love it, man. I love it.
So RevILLutionAries had a lot of success that came with it. You guys had multiple videos for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Whitey Black Brown. You've got any solo ambitions coming up?
I do, man. I have a idea for a solo album that I want to call The Last Page in My Notebook. And I've got at least, I think, 12 really good song ideas. And I'm talking to some people now about making beats, including my man M. Dot,
Nice.
my man Cut, my man Wriggle. So my focus right now is on the Whitey Black Brown project, but in my spare time, when I'm just sitting there in the gym or if I'm just sitting there talking to my wife, that's when I'll jot down lyrics for my stuff. You know what I mean? And I'll just kind of put it in a side note. Like, excuse me, I apologize. Just kind of put it in a side note or whatnot. Like, all right, this could be dope for this and yada yada. But I do have ambitions for a solo. I don't think I want to make too many more of them if I'm being honest. I really enjoy the aspect of being in a group, but I can see myself making like just 6-track EPs or whatnot. But I do want to make one more full-length album, man. Just why not? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not getting any younger, you know what I'm saying? And I agree with Q-Tip. Musicians don't retire, athletes do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so as long as it's working up here, I'm gonna do something. But I want to get something out that feels personal to me. You know what I mean? And so I got some pretty good ideas for that.
Well, I'm excited to check out the whole album. I've liked the 2 tracks that I've been able to listen to. So, yeah, man, great stuff. Hopefully more continued success your way. Please let everybody know the best place that they can follow you at.
And man, if you want to get at me, see the Bees176. Hit me up on Instagram. See GoDilla 978 on Twitter. And I mean, I'm all over the place. Go to whiteyblackbrown.com. Check out other stuff that we put out or whatnot. That's when I think it's dope to listen to that stuff, because I think that's when we were finding our chemistry before we did The Reason. So you can hear some of the older stuff or whatnot, and then see how we developed into what we're doing now.
And that's on whiteyblackbrown.com?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no doubt. If you like this episode, make sure you go down and smash the like button for my man GoDilla, and leave a comment below with what you think of the newest track, Bluelight, from Whitey Black Brown. All the links are in the description below. Make sure you go check out the video as well and add the song to your favorite playlist. And make sure you are subscribed to DroTV so that you don't miss more great guests like GoDilla, my friend here. So thank you much, Tay. That's it for today's episode. And as always, smoke them if you got them.
Yes, sir.
Tuning into another episode on DroTV. If you want to support us here at the channel, you can check out our brand new cannabis line of apparel. We have all high from all 50 states. I'm high from Florida, but you can go and be high from whatever state you are in white or black, a tank top, a hoodie, women's, men's. We've got all sizes for you. We do a lot of stuff for free here. For you, that's how we like to do it. So if you can show us any kind of support, please head over to our link tree, click on our Etsy shop, and go get yourself some sweet gear. When you get it, tag us, post it. We want to see where you're high from, all 50 states as well as a few countries, because we are worldwide, baby. Peace and love. Thank you.